Grand Risings, everyone. Last night was the sports equinox. Well, what does that mean, Travis? It means games in the NHL, NBA, MLB, NFL. Even the MLS had some playoff games last night. Our local teams, mixed results, but patience is the key. Right, JB?
We lost some big-time players. We didn't lose one guy, we lost 5. So to replace those guys does not happen overnight. I've said that. And it doesn't happen in a week either.
Well, the Celtics get their first win as the Bruins collect their 7th loss of the season, unable to build off of the success that they found to win versus the Colorado Avalanche on Saturday, falling to the Ottawa Senators 7-2 last night.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we got ass kicked today, so good thing this league you can regroup tomorrow. That's all our focus on.
It's Tuesday, October 28th. Boston has entered the chat, starts right now. Oh, yes, we have indeed entered the chat. Let us in here. You hear us knocking inside the Salem 5 studios.
Who sings that song?
I don't know. Travis
The Rolling
Thomas.
Stones. Can you hear me knocking? Sorry, guys. We got to keep him educated.
I also didn't even take a guess.
No, you didn't try.
You didn't
try. No effort.
Travis Thomas, the Kasey Hudson. I'm glad we're in a great mood, because I'm not going to lie. Woo! That Bruins game last night, good Lord. 7-2, loss to the Sens. Case, I mean, please, help me, help us, help all of us. 617-790-0928, call us. What happened?
Well, I'm still trying to find my emotional stability because I feel like that's just kind of been the roller coaster we have all been on since the beginning of the season, which feels so far away at this point, but it was really just a couple of weeks ago. Morgan Geekie opens the scoring.
Yeah.
You're excited for him because he's just been on this obscene hot streak as of late. And I talked about it yesterday on the Hockey Hub. I don't think it has anything to do with like the contract or coming off of last year. I think it's just the fact of like his dedication and his love for the game and his ability to start finding his sweet spot. Everything he's been working on starting to pay off, but that's so tough to see the same thing kind of dismantle this team time and time again. And you're really hoping after beating a juggernaut like the Colorado Avalanche on Saturday that there's so many key things to draw off of, and confidence being one of them, momentum being a thing we talk about in all sports aspects.
Sure.
And it just fell flat.
Yeah, particularly the third period. Even after the second period, because you mentioned that how they started. And
Yeah.
I think all of us felt the same way. Okay, here we go. You draw first blood. It seemed like the energy was there. Even when the Sens tied it up, it's like, okay. Second period, you go down 3-1. I'm still like, they're okay.
Right.
3-1 all the time. We see it in hockey, not just Bruins games. You're still okay. You got a shot
we've seen
here.
them push back and
we've
fight
seen
back a
this
number of
team.
times.
We've seen this team do that. So when we got to the third period, I had high hopes, and then I turned my TV off because the rug got pulled from under us. In the third period in particular, what did you see that went so wrong for the Bruins?
So, unfortunately, I'm going to start with the second period. Because the second period is where you just really started to see the wear down on this team. And honestly, Brick points it out beautifully, obviously, throughout the play-by-play, calling the game. The gaps, the miscues, the mistakes, they just really started to pile up in that second period. And that's where you actually saw the Senators be like, oh, they may have drew first blood, but we're making them bleed.
Oh, they figured him out in the second, and then it rolled over in the third.
And then it rolled in, because here's the other thing.
Jeez.
You know, like, you can't hand out power plays, and I put it in my things to consider. Like, there's certain teams that you cannot give power play opportunities to, because that is where they really make sure that everything swings and gravitates in their favor. This is a Senators team that's ranked 6th in the NHL when it comes to power play. They have a number of contributors, 6 to 7 different scorers on this power play. So you can look at the efficiency when they sit at a 28.1% to know that they're going to get the job done. You hand them 5 power plays last night, they cash in on 4. That's a number of the goals that just really tilted this in their favor. So you really have you can fight back, but you're now putting yourself worse than 6 feet under. And that's a big hole to try to climb out of versus a team that, you know, they might not look great on paper. Everybody may have been like, oh, their season's done because Brady Tkachuk is out with his thumb situation for quite some time. But, like, there's still a number of killers on this team. And I think that just between the mistakes and between the penalties that just kept racking up against them, like, they put themselves at bad odds in the second period. And I feel like even though we've seen them fight back a number of times in the third, it all just carried over.
I mean, we've seen so far in this season, this team cannot beat themselves. if you're making the mistakes you're not talented enough to really overcome that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's telling to me when you say, no, they figured him out in the second.
Yeah.
And that carried over to the third. That's very telling.
Yeah, because one game we're either talking about turnovers and then turnovers that turn into massive goals for their opponent, or we're talking about giving away too many power play opportunities because the discipline with the 5-on-5 is just very much not there. And it's not for a lack of effort. If anything, it might be a little bit of panic in the pursuit because you're trying to make sure that you eliminate a play from happening, but you forego an opportunity to kind of settle things down and hand out a power play opportunity. And any team that's sitting top 10 in a power play, that's the last game that you want to play.
For sure. Hey, this is a safe space. Call us 617-790-0928. Let's talk Bruins. After the game, Nikita Zadorov talked about the Bruins' struggles.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we got ass kicked today, so good thing this league you can regroup tomorrow. That's all our focus on.
It seemed like you guys had trouble getting out of your own end tonight. What do you think where that problem was?
I think at first probably like 12, 13 minutes we did. Then we kind of settled a little bit and started making plays on the Wolves. I mean, obviously when you take 4 penalties against power play like that and then give up 3 great A's from the front of the net, they're going to capitalize, so we're just going to be better over there.
When you have penalties that kind of mount on top of each other, is that a level of frustration?
Well, I mean, I kind of felt pretty good. I feel like after a second, I feel like we could have come back in that game after 3-1. Then I go up there and take that penalty. It kills all the momentum, so it's definitely on me. I mean, I feel like I do that 10 times a game and never trip the guy, and my stick got stuck in between his legs, so just... Yeah, I got to watch the stick, so I think that kind of killed our momentum a little bit. They scored right away, so obviously, like I said, they have a really good, dangerous power play we need before the game. We got to stay out of the box somehow.
Do you take anything away from this game, or is this one you just throw in the trash and turn the page?
I mean, you always take something out of any games, you know. Obviously, it's a slap to the face. We're Boston Bruins. That's unacceptable, so we got to come up tomorrow and then play like we should, you know what I mean, in front of our crowd. So I think it's, like I said, it's the best thing in this league. You know, you have a game like that, but you can regroup tomorrow and then show who you are actually.
Lots of dejection there. And you know what? He talked about what you said. I mean, the power play killed him all night, Case.
Yeah, and look, I respect the accountability in his response. You know, talk about the fact of where he played a role in some of those power play opportunities for the Senators. But the reality of it is, 7 looks horrible. Mm-hmm. But when you break down the 7 goals, 4 of the 7 goals came off of the power play. Batherson staying hot. Then you've got Stuchla picking up 2 power play goals. This is what's extremely deflating, and I know that's why we look to the third period to be like, oh my gosh, that's where things had to have fallen apart. But I just think that it was more so the fact that they pick up a power play goal in the first period, they pick up a goal in the second, they pick up 2 goals in the second period, and that's where things very much tilted in the favor for the Senators. But 4 power play goals out of the 7 goals given up, you're not giving yourself an opportunity to stay in any sort of game. And that's going to wear on your mental because that's just adding to the list of beating yourself.
Well, listen, on a brighter note, Morgan Geekie, you said, has been hot. He stays hot. Here he is after the loss.
Can't get much worse, really. I don't know, sorry. I just know how hard this group works and how bad everybody wants it, and then to show up like that is just I don't know, we put them on the power play 5 times. They score 4 of them, it's like you're shooting yourselves in the foot. It's been like that all year, but I mean 5-on-5, we don't really create a ton. And I mean, we're a little better defensively, but we're still giving up lapses and stuff like that, so I don't know, it's just I wish I could tell you more. I don't know. It's tough today.
You know, you and I talk so much this offseason about if Geekie can do it again. Is it sustainable? I mean, listen, silver lining here. This guy's playing really well. 7 goals so far on this season.
Yeah.
You know, I know he's upset there from the loss. We'll see what he does tonight, second leg of a back-to-back if he stays hot. But he has been playing well. What do you see from him? How has he been able to find that consistency?
I think it's just the fact of how meticulous he explains that he was in his offseason. You know, he took notes off of the things that he didn't do well last year, and like wild concept, right? Because he had a brilliant year, a career season. But that just shows you the hunger that he has to make sure that he can contribute more. So I remember at training camp, specifically day 1, he talked about one of the things that he was aiming to clean up and get better at was his one-timer. And he wanted to be able to be efficient and have those one-timer opportunities. We saw one, I believe it was preseason game 1 versus the Capitals. But then you've just also seen different ways of him scoring. So I mentioned it yesterday on the Hockey Hub, and I'm a big appreciator of this. While we love that moment to hit that tweet and be like, so-and-so just ripped it from his home office, Geeky doesn't have a home office. Geeky is finding ways to score from all over the ice, and it's helping a team that's just kind of trying to struggle to find that 5-on-5 execution and efficiency. So I feel like everything that he worked on in the offseason, he's just been really good at, you know, game after game sort of unveiling that. And I think right now he's probably one of the key contributors because of his ability to try to find sweet spots all over the ice in the offensive zone rather than being like, I got to get to the left circle to make something happen.
Jeremy Swayman gave up all 7 goals last night. I mean, when you look at his performance last night, what went wrong? Obviously the power play we've talked about, the defensive lapses we've talked about. Are you putting your keeper, your goalie in such a tight spot that there's nowhere for him to go? And like, I get, you know, hey, you can't give up that many goals, but was he set up to fail last night? I mean, if you're this bad on the power play, what's he supposed to do, Case?
Yeah.
Like, is there a world in which you can defend a Jeremy Swayman today because of the lapses?
Well, I mean, that's a tough one to break down, honestly, because the reality of it is
You can't give up that many goals.
you can't put your goalie in that kind of position. So to a degree, and I can't speak to this, but to a degree, you just kind of get frustrated yourself because you're being left out to dry, and then like you're being expected to make such pivotal stops time and time again. So like, you know, the average goalie can make these outstanding stops, you know, a number of times throughout a game, but to basically have him under siege to that
Over
degree,
and over again.
yeah, it's just like it gets weathering. And like, look, at some moments the Bruins were putting up more shots on goal, so it's not like there was a high volume
Right.
coming at Swayman. But I will say this, at least in the time when I was covering Andre Vasilevsky, he used to say he likes having a lot of shots coming at him because it kept him sharp. Sometimes the lack of shot volume sometimes just kind of messes with the mechanics of a goalie, but that is just something that one particular goalie said. I mean, this is something that
Sure.
Swayman would have to speak to, or Raycroft could break down beautifully.
Well, you also talked about, too, the lapses. I mean, that's not going to help you out defensively.
Yeah.
If the guys in front of you aren't doing their job, it's going to make life tough for you, whether you're getting a lot of shots or not. Marco Sturm, after this game, here's his post-game thoughts as well.
Yeah, I think that's you either buy in or not. That's right there. You know, that's the difference, and that's what if you just look at the Ottawa team today, and they do it, and we're not, and that's the game.
Penalty killing's been good all year. Gave up 3 tonight, though. What were the issues with the men down?
No, I think finally caught up to us a little bit. We can't take every game. We can't take 5 penalties every night. It's going to be hard on our killers. We knew they have a really good face-off. Sentiment lining up every time, and they won their face-off really clean, and we just didn't do a good job.
And what are the challenges to bounce right back tomorrow against the Islanders?
That's a good thing, I guess, right? You don't have really time to think about that one. I think we got to put that one away and show some life tomorrow, especially at home.
Casey, hearing him talk there, I just said this to you off camera. It's almost as if, I mean, a back-to-back's kind of an advantage right now. At least the way you answer that, obviously you're back in Boston. That helps. But look, like, yeah, this was a tough loss. Many of us feel like this was the worst loss of the season. And now you're right back in action tonight. That could be an advantage in a way. You don't have time to stew in it and to dwell in it.
You don't have time to obsess over it, but the concern would be that, like, if miscommunication is one of the things that is hurting you most, and mistakes is hurting you most, and Sophia mentioned it on the Hub yesterday, like, the practice time that this team is afforded right now is really much, it's inaccessible, especially throughout October. So when you're having these mistakes and you don't have the ability to practice and communicate it, then you're just kind of leaving everything to the next game. So it's just like where it depends on how they were able to kind of like handle that loss, how they were able to sit in it last night before turning the page, because they can't come into this and make the same mistakes. And penalty kills might feel like the most obvious mistake in that game.
Sure.
But if we touch it back to any teams that they've gone against that have a number of speedy players, for one, generate a lot of rush chances, force them to defend quickly or very quick on transitions. That's another thing that kind of, is tough on a team that's still trying to figure out their identity on the back end. So that's why I don't want to sit here and be like, this could be an advantage tonight. It just really depends on how each player really sat in that loss last night, because the second line for the New York Islanders consists of Duclair and Barzal.
Right.
Those are two extremely fast skaters, and Barzal being a playmaker when he's healthy and he's feeling himself this year, not to be so cliche, but they're very young and first-year defenseman, and Matthew Schaefer has been on a point streak and is very, very good at showing his hockey IQ and his ability to see the ice and make things happen. If it's Sorokin between the pipes, you're talking about a goaltender that can keep things pretty low scoring. So there's a layer of factors here to where the Islanders are always a team that you can't really get your finger on them and what they're going to deliver to you that night.
They're a tough matchup because of that. There's no predictability there. I want to add insult to injury, literally here. Hampus Lindholm, I haven't seen you since. He's on the IR now.
Yeah.
That can't help things either, Case.
No, not when you're trying to situate a new system under a new head coach, and then one of the biggest pillars that you were looking forward to having back, not only like in a leadership way, but just what he brings to the ice, especially when he's at his best. Like, now you're kind of retooling around that fact, and I think it's also kind of like a mental battle here when you're thinking to yourself, okay, he has an opportunity to get back into the lineup. Then he went from day to day to being a game time decision. Game time decision told us we're going to see him very soon here, to all of a sudden being on IR, and then the call up of Jonathan Aspero. So I feel like that there's no stability in the back end. That's the bottom line. You don't know what this defense looks like, feels like, and how they can execute at their best. And yes, on Saturday versus the Avalanche, we felt like we got a sample size of it. That clearly did not translate into the game versus the Senators. So I feel like it just adds to the moving pieces. To the note of bringing up Aspero, though, you're talking about, something that I've asked for, simplicity. This is a very solid player. He was referred to as a well-rounded, interchangeable player when he was with the Calgary Wranglers, and that could just be the stability that they need on the back end right now. We're just asking for stabilization and simplicity on the back end so that less mistakes can punch through, and maybe we're talking about a different game.
617-790-0928. Bruins therapy here. Call us, get in here. Not all was lost last night, though. One local team got their first win. Woo! When we come back, what's trending in the world of sports?
That woo
Spoiler
is like,
alert.
I might believe it, I might be bought in, I might not, I don't know.
It was mixed, but I understand why. Hey, remember, 8 a.m. Monday through Friday on Nesson. You can catch Boston Has Entered the Chat, 9 a.m. Monday through Friday, right here on Nesson Nation. You can catch us. Boston Has Entered the Chat. Roll with us.
You want to try the woo again?
Woo!
It is what it is. Like, it's going to take some time. It's gonna. We lost 4 All-Stars last season between Al, Drew, Kristaps, and then JT being out. Luke's an All-Star to me. Luke's an All-Star in all of our hearts. You know what I mean? But we lost some big-time players. We didn't lose one guy. We lost 5. So to replace those guys does not happen overnight. I've said that, and it doesn't happen in a week either. So we gotta build some chemistry. We gotta build some identity and adopt a new style of play. But I believe in this group. I believe in that we have the potential, but it takes a little bit of time. So
the Celtics are what's trending in sports, baby. 122-90. First win of the season over Skinny Zion and the Pels. I loved every second of it, Casey.
I was really curious, watching the game, knowing and seeing the direction that it was going in. What was your initial reaction? Because we always talk about me losing my mind in my apartment watching the Bruins, but you haven't really been feeling this Celtics
I have
team.
not at all.
Yeah.
No, I was calm in the sense of the Celtics. I wasn't going crazy. They finally got a win.
Okay.
I'll tell you my thoughts since you asked.
Yes.
It was, man, the Pelicans stink.
Well, they were looking for their first win themselves.
I
so
literally,
like,
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this team really sucks. Like, Skinny Zion's not working. He needs a king cake or something.
I've been hearing the Skinny Zion thing for like too many days now. It's so disrespectful.
Oh, it is what it is.
Did he not beef up in the offseason enough for you?
It is what it is.
Okay.
Here's the deal. You finally got to win. And look, this is a realization I've come to now with this team.
Right.
I think when short sample size, I get it, but when they played good teams, as they did to start the year, they had this great schedule, all these primetime games, all this nonsense. Mm-hmm. Well, those are really good teams. You lost to them. The Pellies, as I told you last night, watching this game, this team's not any good, right? Okay, so you can beat the bad teams.
Right.
Thank the Lord. Thank you, basketball gods. You're not one of the worst teams in this league, okay? So the truth is somewhere in between. So as the season goes on, Joe Mazzulla, let's figure out a rotation. Let's figure out how we can beat the better teams, how we can beat some of those good teams.
Right.
But for now, where we're at now in the present, you and I have been talking about being present.
Right.
Where we're at now, just beat the bad teams. I can live with that, and we'll figure out how to beat the better teams. Right now, first win, that's where we're at. I'm fine with it, Case. I'm fine right there.
Did Joe do any of these for you?
Well, listen.
Any of this from Joe?
I will say this. I did not see any whiteboards, but today is not the day for me to sit here and criticize Joe Mazzulla. Congrats to Coach. You got your first win of the season. Cheers to many more, hopefully. We'll see. But again, that was my takeaway from last night. Boy, this team's bad. They can beat bad teams. Okay, right?
Right.
If you're one of the people that believe this is going to be a playoff team and they're going to be okay and then get Tatum back and be really okay, then you love to see last night because you are not one of the worst teams. You're not the Pelicans. You're not the Wizards. You're not all these bottom feeders.
They created a little bit of a degree of separation.
I think so.
Okay.
But again, small sample size here. I'm trying to be fair.
Well, you did see some other guys step up last night.
You did. And I mean, Anthony Simons.
Hello.
Have an afternoon.
Hello. Tea on you.
Yeah, facts. I see some good things here. I just think small sample sizes, I'm looking so far. Okay, they can't beat these teams, but they ain't down here either. And I'm okay with that.
Who do you need to see more out of in order for them to make that separation a little bit
I'm not going to lie,
wider?
Jaylen Brown.
Okay, that's where I was
it's like
curious.
I know it's low-hanging fruit, but it's like, this is your
15
I don't
points?
think we don't talk, well, that's just last night, but I don't think we talk enough about this is his moment now.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, you are the man now by default. Your other guy, your running mate, is hurt. So I want to see him grasp that, and I haven't really seen it yet. Not to say he can't or he won't. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
I'm trying to be fair, because I've been hard on this team. And so today
you were nicer to him than you were about Mazzulla and the whiteboard.
Well,
so
let's not even, again, today's not the day. Congrats to the Celtics. I love it. All right, in other news, Aroldis Chapman would rather retire than be a Yankee again. This is the kind of stuff I love. Gordo tweets this. By the way, Gordo coming up later in the show. Nat Gordon, we love him here. Would Aroldis Chapman ever play for the Yankees again? No way. Not even dead. If I were told that I was being traded to New York, I'd pack my things and go home. I'll retire right on the spot if that happens. I'm not crazy. Never again. I dealt with a lot of disrespect there. Wow, Chappie. We love to hear that because it's nothing but love and respect here.
You look at the picture, but here's the only question that popped into my brain as that entire thing was going down. In what way? Who had the audacity?
Yeah.
Who had the audacity to disrespect Chapman?
Well, I mean, it's New York, Case.
That's true.
I mean,
the gloves are off against almost anyone and everyone.
It's what they do
that
there.
one could do.
Not here. Love and respect here.
Yeah.
But New York?
I would never have the countless brain cells to disrespect a man that stances like that after doing damage on every single team that he goes up against. But I'd rather him have that foam at the mouth towards the Yankees than anything else, so I'm fine with it. But it's just crazy to think, wow, you burnt a man like Aroldis Chapman that bad?
Listen, I just love to see the Yankees' downfall. I really do. I mean, old man Steinbrenner, rest his soul, but, back in the day, they were spending money, they were aggressive. It was an honor to wear the pinstripes. Now, Cashman and Boone have run this thing so far into the ground, Case, Players are like, I don't never want to go. We've heard so many players like, I ain't going there.
We can't find a reunion story amongst like really any players. Like Hunter Dobbins months ago was like, LOL. To that ever being a thing, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
And now Chapman's like, put me in the ground.
It's beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm hearing about the Red Sox? I would love to play there. It would be an honor to play there. Oh, what a great organization. That's right. And the fans love and respect around here, baby.
Well,
that's like a commercial.
I've had nothing but love for every player, so
that's a good point.
They just keep making the buy-in so much easier.
Yeah.
And Aroldis Chapman is a leader in that.
Well, you know what? Let's talk more Red Sox on the other side here on Boston Has Entered the Chat. Roll with us. Nat Gordon, Play Tessie Podcast, joins us. Welcome back into Boston Has Entered the Chat. Oh, this is a tweet right here from my man Gordo. Check this out. Would Aroldis Chapman ever play for the Yankees again? Quote, no way. Not even dead, brah. If I were told I was being traded to New York, I'd pack my things and go home. I'll retire right on the spot if that happens. I'm not crazy. Never again. I dealt with a lot of disrespect there. To that I say, Chappie, I mean, nothing but love, respect, lobster rolls, and chowder here, my friend. Stay here forever, please. And I hope Nat Gordon stays here forever of the Play Tessie Podcast. Welcome back, Big Swole.
Thanks for having me, guys. I love that quote. I love when Red Sox players hate the Yankees. We haven't had this in forever.
That's right.
We got two guys this year with Chapman and Dobbins before. Yep. Mm-hmm. Basically, Dobbins said he'd rather, if the Yankees were the last team to offer him a contract, he'd retire. Yep. And Chapman said he would rather die.
Yes.
And that's the way it should be.
That's a perfect ad. But no, I mean, the stance says it all. I always talk about the stance. Could you actually see that finish at that Yankee Stadium, whatever the new one is? It just doesn't feel right.
It doesn't.
Nothing about Yankees
I just hope he stays here forever. And I said this, too, going to break. I said, listen, if this guy, he just signed an extension, right? I would not be shocked if at the end of this current contract he just signed, he signs another one. He's not aging that. No. It's incredible.
And he's happy here, and he's made a lot of money in this game.
And he's balling.
Yeah, and he's on a team that can win in a place that he likes, a place where he's comfortable, a place he's winning. By all means, they'll probably take it year by year because he is an older guy.
He's getting older.
But as you said, he's not aging. He still throws it triple-digit gas.
Yes.
Like the Red Sox need that at the back of the bullpen. As long as he can keep doing it, I don't see why he wouldn't keep staying or sticking around.
Okay, so let's talk about bats.
Love the bats.
I'm seeing a lot of Kyle Schwarber talk on my timeline. Anything cooking here? Is there something I should be looking forward to? Because
Did you manifest something?
I have prayed, as you know, Casey,
Yeah.
to the baseball gods for either him or Pete Alonso. To be fair, I'll take either one. But I'm seeing more Red Sox Schwarber talk. Is there something to that?
Yeah, it does feel like you've seen a little bit more Schwarber than Alonso. Doesn't mean it's highly one or the other, but yeah, you've seen the reports that the Red Sox love Kyle Schwarber. That's exactly where they should be. They should love Kyle Schwarber. That's a guy who has been here, who's shown you he can handle the market, can succeed in the market, can succeed into his 30s, coming off a 56 home run season. And I'll tell you, Travis, the Red Sox, after they traded Devers, 23rd in home runs. This is a team that needs power. Going into last season, you had Devers and Costas as your guys, as your 30-homer dudes, and Devers is gone. Costas is coming off a knee injury that we don't know what he's going to look like when he comes back, and we don't know when he's going to come back. This is a guy who's hit 56, who is coming off a 56 home run season, a guy who is a proven leader in a winning culture clubhouse in Philadelphia. In the words of Alex Cora, he impacted a lot of people in a short period of time in Boston.
Ooh.
This is the perfect fit. It's just a matter of, can you pry him away from Philadelphia? That's a big if. They're going to want to keep him.
Can you educate me on this? Because I know it was a different front office at that time. But at the time, I wasn't even here. And I was like, he's a perfect Red Sox player. And then he gets dealt. What was it, just money?
It was, at the time, they had J.D. Martinez under contract for one more year. And it's like, we could bring back Kyle Schwarber, but we don't want to play him in the field. And J.D. Martinez is the DH, and he's opting into his deal. Personally, if it were me, I would have just had him overlap for a year. Yeah. Kyle Schwarber was playing first base. He was playing a little left field.
Right.
Could have made it work for a year and kept Schwarber around, but they didn't think they could. And then a year later, they go out and sign Masataka Yoshida instead for basically the same AAV that Kyle Schwarber got in Philadelphia. And yeah, that was a big That was a big mess up there.
Yeah.
All right, so crazy thing, because we all know that the business comes with plenty of dramatics. If we were to find a reality in this sense, is there a grovel fee? And basically, like, at what price can we basically make him a Red Sox again?
Yeah, it's a weird one because he's entering his age 33 season, but coming off such a ridiculously good season. 56 home runs is unbelievable.
You just need him to hit here, too.
That makes a price point for itself, his home runs.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to make a ton of money per year, like over $30 million a year. But the question is, like, I was originally seeing 3 to 4 years. Now it's like maybe it could get to 5. Like, to me,
no way.
If you're going to pry him away from Philadelphia, you've got to get super uncomfortable. If you think you're getting this guy on a 3-year deal and the Phillies aren't just going to match what you offer there, you're mistaken. Like, this is going to get, in my opinion, to 4 or even to 5 years if you want to be the team to take him away from Philadelphia. You got to give a price that Dave Dombrowski and the Philadelphia Phillies don't want to match. Because in my opinion, if the Phillies match a price, he's just going to go back there.
So I know we've got money, but would this kind of infiltrate any sort of bring Bregman back and give Bregman everything that he needs, wants, and deserves kind of conversation?
Yeah, it's the $1 million question.
More than that.
Yeah.
It's more than $1 million question.
It's true. But yeah, I mean, there are ways to me, like, I mean, if the Red Sox want to spend on the level of, let's say, the Blue Jays, like, we're not even talking Dodgers, Mets, Yankees, like, we're talking like Blue Jays, Phillies. If they want to spend on that level, they can certainly afford both.
Yeah.
To me, it'll be a believe it when I see it to see the Red Sox get to that level of spending. They can stay under the second luxury tax threshold if they signed, a longer deal at 25-ish million AAV. That's maybe more a Pete Alonso deal. If you're going for Schwarber, it's probably getting into the 30s, and you might have to do some jumping jacks, some somersaults to make the money work. And definitely we're talking Masataka Yoshida, because if you sign Kyle Schwarber, Masataka Yoshida can't be on this roster.
Yeah.
No, for sure. Okay, I want to throw a curveball into the chat here.
No pun.
Well, we've been talking Phillies.
Yeah.
So because of that, the way my brain works, I'm just like, Phillies. There's something going on with Bryce Harper and that organization. Any chance, as you look into your crystal ball, that Bryce Harper could enter the chat for the Red Sox offseason?
It's a weird dynamic there with him right now. Like, I still need to see more before I think that there's a real chance that he could be traded, just because, to me, like, that's the foundation of a team. That's the foundation of a locker room. That's the foundation of a lineup. And yeah, I know that he was hurt this year and didn't maybe produce the numbers that you're accustomed to from Bryce Harper, but he's still Bryce Harper. And yeah, it's weird that Dave Dombrowski would say so publicly how, I guess, sort of disappointed he was in Bryce's season. But
he kind of blamed him.
He did.
Nat, he kind of blamed him.
It was weird. It was weird. From a seasoned exec like Dave Dombrowski,
yes,
he knows exactly what he's doing. But to me, I also think if you're going to trade a guy, why are you going to bash him publicly and then try to maximize value? I don't know, maybe it's to try to open Bryce's mind to a trade, but what, you're going to purposely fracture a relationship? Like, it's a weird strategy.
Bryce has been I want to be here my whole career.
Yeah.
So I think by doing that publicly, you're saying we may not want you here your whole career. So now, look, I covered Bryce. I'm not going to say he's petty. I'll say he's emotional.
Yeah, very emotional.
I'll say he's emotional. So, I mean, I'm just looking at that, and I'm watching that situation because let me reframe the question. Is Bryce Harper a good fit in the way Alex Bregman was a perfect fit for this team? Does Bryce Harper make sense for the Sox? Is he a great fit here?
Oh, absolutely. If he's available, the Red Sox should be all over it. I mean, this is a guy who, when he signed his contract, like, I'm sitting there in college, and I'm like, oh my God, he's going to be under contract with the Phillies into my 30s,
forever.
And it feels like it's forever. But right now, that contract, even off the year he had, which really wasn't bad.
It looks good.
It was a good season, but it's a good value contract, and he's a really good hitter, can play first base. Who knows? Maybe there is some outfield to be had there. I don't know. That was kind of a weird. He had the surgery, and then they just never let him touch the outfield grass again. I don't know about that, but good thing you can use a first baseman. You can use a middle of the order bat who can hit the ball out of the ballpark. Yeah. So if a guy can play first base and hit home runs, I'm in. And if he's Bryce Harper and he's the leader that Bryce Harper is, even better.
No concern about the young guys and getting. Bryce is larger than life personality-wise.
Yeah.
It's not a jerk thing with him, but he is a superstar. You have no concerns with that? With a Roman Anthony, with a Bryce Harper, is his shadow? Does he cast too much of a shadow? Maybe?
No, they'll play off of his passion.
Okay.
Because there's other passionate players in this clubhouse.
Yeah.
I believe, and some things that we've seen. When things get really tough for the Red Sox, we've seen who those passionate players are.
That's I guess why I ask it. That's a worry of mine and Alex Bregman is an unequivocal leader, and he's a we guy. He's not a me guy. I have some concerns about Bryce with that.
Yeah, I mean, I know you covered him back in D.C., but he feels like he's a different dude now.
He does.
He felt that way in D.C.
He was that way.
Yeah, it was. I don't know what changed. I mean, obviously, he's an adult now, and when he came up in D.C., he was a literal kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is the unquestioned. Him and Schwarber really the leaders of that Phillies clubhouse. I think it would be a good fit. I question if the Phillies would actually trade Bryce Harper. Like, it sounds crazy to even say.
I know.
Well, something that might fall underneath that, we know that when trade rumors start brewing, there's always names or there's clubs attached to it. And Phillies supposedly have an interest in a Jarren Duran who's been part of a lot of trade conversations throughout this entire season. Like, would that be a potential possibility that could make one of those players end up as the Red Sox?
Yeah, I mean, Duran certainly available and on the market. The Red Sox are going to discuss outfield trades all offseason, and I think they will end up dealing one of their outfielders, and Duran kind of seems like the most likely of that group to go, and the Phillies have been connected there in the past. It would be a weird deal because I don't think you would see a Duran-Harper deal necessarily. Like, if you're dealing Duran to the Phillies, to me, you're getting prospects to backfill some of the prospects that you're shipping out to get the starting pitcher you need.
Okay.
Like, if you're trading Duran, to me, like, it's got to be with the pursuit of a starting pitcher. Like that number 2 starting pitcher.
Right.
If
that's
you can,
the value that needs to be traded there.
Yeah, like if you can get that number 2 for a deal involving Duran and probably some more stuff added onto it, you go for it. And if that deal isn't there and the teams you're talking to want prospects, you trade them prospects, and then you trade one of the outfielders to bring prospects back to restock the farm because, back-to-back off seasons of big trades, one for Crochet and potentially one for another number 2 this offseason. It drains your system. Yeah. But the good news is you do have 4 outfielders for 3 spots, and you can restock.
Yeah, but Nat, I look at, because I'm someone who defended Jarren Duran. I probably did it with you on the show around the trade deadline of people were saying, well, you gotta ship him and get something back, get a pitcher. I remember Dylan Cease was one of the big rumors. And the Red Sox decided to keep him, which I defended at the time because I said he's a spark plug. He's the energy of this team. After that playoff performance or lack thereof, I actually don't know if his stock is as high as we think it is in terms of trades. Don't you think because of the playoff performance, you would need him and some prospects to maybe go get a Joe Ryan or a bona fide number 2 starter? I do.
Yeah.
I don't think the playoffs, in other words, I don't think his playoff performance helped his stock in terms of trading him.
No, it certainly didn't. I mean, you talk about his value. I mean, obviously it was at its highest last offseason, and it was also higher at the trade deadline than it is right now.
Yes.
I mean, the playoff performance doesn't help. The losing year of control doesn't help. He was playing his best ball of the year right at the trade deadline last year, and the Padres were making a big push for him. Now they made a big trade for Mason Miller. They have less in the system. I mean, they can still put together a trade for him, but it's a little bit. You'd have to get a little bit more creative than you would have had to at the deadline. The value is not what it was, but to me, I mean, a former MVP candidate with 3 years of control left on the deal, who has shown that he can perform in any market. That has value. It's not what it was. Like, this is a guy who was coming off an MVP caliber season 2 seasons ago now. He was not that this past year. But this is still a guy with 3 years of control. Teams want controllable offense, controllable outfield. He's shown he can do it in Boston, and I think there is going to be a market for him, even if it's not what it would have been had you traded him, let's say, at the deadline.
Yeah, well, I mean, to know that your stats can mess with your value, so can injuries. And Tristan Casas, the unexpected of, like, what he'll be when he returns, as you mentioned earlier, like, is that a piece that they might move on from to try to make some moves happen to bolster this clubhouse?
You know, the Casas thing is so weird because it felt like last offseason they were pretty eagerly shopping him, it kind of felt like. And I didn't quite understand it at the time. And now, you know, with basically missing practically 2 seasons, I don't know what value there is to get from him in a trade right now. Like, I just don't know what teams are going to give significant value to a first baseman who is coming off
who can't be healthy.
Yeah, who really hasn't shown he can be healthy. But to me, there is still potential there. Like, we don't know what he's going to be coming back from a severe knee injury.
Yeah.
To me, I would rather take the chance on letting him play it out, and he still has minor league options. So if it comes to it, he can work through things in the minors to start the season. I think there's more to be unlocked than there is to get in a trade with him right now. I don't know what else you're going to get. But if a team with a number 2 starter says, like, we want Tristan Casas to be the last piece in a deal to get you that, let's say, Sandy Alcantara or Joe Ryan, like, you're not going to say no to that. But it's not like you're going to get one of those guys with Tristan Casas being the main piece just because of the injury-riddled seasons he's coming off of.
All right, we'll let you go with this. I mean, the World Series is over at this point, right? After that marathon last night.
No.
First of all, what was your original prediction? I forget. And then where are you now? Because I feel like it's over. Dodgers in 5. What was your original?
My original prediction was picking the Dodgers, but I didn't think it was going to be an easy series, and I thought it was going to go 6 or 7 games.
Oh, wow.
But I'm sticking with that. Like, if the Blue Jays had won that game last night, if they extended it one more inning,
they didn't do it, Nat.
Gotten to Yamamoto, and they didn't do it.
They didn't do it.
I still think the series is far from over. It's going to go back to Toronto. It's going to be at least 6 games. I know the Dodgers bullpen showed out last night. I still think that the key to this series is just get into the bullpen before the 6th inning and see what happens, because they are hittable.
You should be the Blue Jays skipper then, because I'm telling you, if I'm the skipper of the Blue Jays, I'm like, hey, man, we did it was a great season, guys. Let's back our stuff up. We're good. Where's that white towel?
It's 2-1, Travis.
Right. This is why you're here and you're not in anybody's clubhouse.
You got Shohei on the mound.
Me if the coach was like, hey, as a matter of fact, we can start planning vacays and everyone's good.
Yeah, Cancun on 3, guys. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Nat, we appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming up. Hey, let's keep our eye on this Bryce Harper thing. I'm just saying.
You need yourself some Bryce in Boston. I can see it.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, and what do you know?
Where there's smoke, there's fire. That's all I'm saying.
Weird situation.
When we come back here on Boston Has Entered the Chat, the Patriots are on the come up here in these NFL streets. But what if I told you they can get even better at the trade deadline? We'll talk about our wish list next, right here on Boston Has Entered the Chat.
A week from tomorrow, is there a certain point this week where those conversations ramp up, or is it just an ongoing process throughout the week?
I probably would assume that those are ongoing, conversations that personnel people have, and they're gauging the market around the league.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Pete Collins tweets the Patriots are cooking up something big. Per Mike Girardi, New England is aggressively pursuing pass rushers. Okay. Ahead of the trade deadline. Names being floated. Chop, chop now, y'all. Chop Robinson, Jalen Phillips, Jermaine Johnson, Thibodeau in New York, Trey Hendrickson. Excuse me, that's who I want. Excuse me. Arden Key. So a lot of names being shopped here, Case.
Yep.
Clearly, I tipped my hand into who I want, so we'll just start there.
Was that coughing attack that you?
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to clear it out.
Dry vocals.
We have some whiteboards here. I'm just going to write Trey, because Trey Hendrickson is exactly who I want the Patriots to go get. Look, we already know what's going on with this guy. We knew in the offseason when the Bengals were El Stupido and didn't want to pay this guy, even though outside of Myles Garrett and Max Crosby and Micah Parsons, he's been the guy. So it's like, why wouldn't you pay him? I mean, your defense stinks. You sank all this money in the offense.
He kept taking discounts.
He kept taking discounts. I think, check me, someone here, fact check me, I think he's from that area, literally. Like, It made no sense why the Bengals won't pay him, but Bengals will Bengals. So there's been some disgruntled stuff anyway between him and that team.
Yeah.
Now here we are, trade deadline approaching, and he's on the market because the team stinks. Look, go get him. You have the money. Case, I looked this up. $50 million the Patriots have to spend. 50! 5-0. You can afford them. You have not won a playoff game here in 7 years. The time is now.
Yeah.
You're going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Go all in. Try to win this bleeping thing. That's a guy that can get you there.
Here's my thing. I'm on board, but gave him a nickname, Hendy. Just play the song Don't Hurt Me No More. Because the fact that he had a number of teams that were like, we've got the cheddar you want, we've got the atmosphere you want, we've got the culture you want. Do you want to at least open conversations? And he's still over with the Bengals begging for them to love him. That's why he ended up staying there. He tried to put his foot down. He tried to hang out in Florida and pretend like he wasn't going to, entertain anything unless they rose to the occasion and gave him what he deserved. And then they come back in with, a 1 year something or other. Like, my thing is, I don't know what keeps him so strongly tied to the Bengals. And while I love the idea of him being a Patriot, I feel like this team takes the next step by solidifying the center position on the offensive line and working their way down the left side. That's my thing, because we want a run game to get established.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of depletion in that room right now with having basically just two running backs that can function. And we just saw the performance we've been asking for out of Henderson for the first time. But in order to get a run game going, I think everything comes back and circles back to the conversation of the offensive line. And with how well they're performing, do we want to wait for the draft to have this conversation, or do we address it now?
Okay. It's a fair take by you. I'm going to go in a different direction for
you
my.
You sound very unimpressed.
Well, I've been fixated on the guy.
Okay.
Look, let me go bold take here before I give you my next guy that I want.
Okay.
I believe, I'm going to say this definitively.
Yep.
Trey Hendrickson.
Yep.
You trade for him, and you don't have to take away from what you have now, nucleus-wise.
Okay.
Look, Kyle Duggar's not even playing anymore. Kyle Duggar, a draft pick, they have draft capital. Okay, I'll take that for him, okay? If I don't have to give up players who are contributing right now, and I'm not messing up my chemistry, I think adding a Trey Hendrickson can be the thing that takes you over the top. If you are going to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, whether it's here or Arrowhead, you have got to make him uncomfortable. Have we seen the Super Bowls that he has lost? Yeah. What has been the reoccurring theme?
Blitz.
I mean, the guy has no time.
Yeah.
He's running around doing triple axels, jumping in the air, throwing the ball.
Okay, but then this brings me to another thing. Would we not need to actually add some help to the Patriots secondary before you go out and spend money on Hendrickson? Because the reality of it is you can bull rush a man all day, but when you're going against a Patrick Mahomes who can throw on the run, then you're talking about a whole different kind of coverage that has to step up. So the upfront coverage has done their job, in my opinion. If we branch out to how this defense can get better, I think it's the secondary getting a bit stickier in my
more so than the pass rush is what you're saying.
Yes.
I don't look. Some of this is philosophical too, right? Vrabel's a defensive guy.
Yeah.
If the reports are they're shopping for pass rush, that's telling you schematically. He's like, we'll figure it out on the back end. We got Christian Gonzalez. We'll figure it out.
He's been banged up.
I know. I'm just saying.
Carlton Davis banged up.
I'm just saying.
So where's the depth?
Schematically, he's saying we need to make whatever quarterback we see, Lamar, Patrick, Josh. We know all the names.
Right.
Herbert. We have to make them uncomfortable. Here's another direction I'm going to go. Offensively. I just wrote baby please. Here's why.
Because you want Myers to come back.
I do. I think.
I knew that that was going.
Sometimes, we as men especially, sometimes we just got to say we're sorry.
This is a mess.
I was wrong. Baby, please. Come on home. Come on back. I'm sorry. The person who turned their back on you, Jacoby.
Is gone?
Is gone. We believe in you. In fact, when that person turned their back on you, all of us collectively said, him? Why are you letting him go? Juju Smith-Schuster?
Yikes.
So let's just make it right. ISO, Greg. Baby, please. Come on back. Jacoby Myers, that's who I want.
Okay, I'm not.
Baby, please.
I'm not fully on board with that.
Come, why not?
Because I think you mentioned chemistry just moments ago, and here's my thing. The chemistry is brewing just fine for Drake May and his wide receiving room. The bromance between him and Kayshon Boutte, like, you bring in somebody who, like, yes, you know, he can help, he can contribute.
He may have a chip on his shoulder.
There's going to be a chip on the shoulder. You don't come back to an old stomping ground. You don't go back to your old boo and all of a sudden have this like humility about you. Not to say that he's unhumble, but I think that they're fine in the wide receiving room. You don't make waves there. I don't think you make waves there. You leave Diggs as your veteran presence, and don't disrespect the youth that should be coming up in that wide receiving room also, because let's not forget, it got a little tight there for a second in terms of who was going to make the roster and how many wide receivers they were going to pull up.
Sure.
If you do get crazy, though, I don't think you return to old love.
Oh.
I think you maybe look at a deep threat by the name of Chris Olave.
Oh, that's Olave. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's Olave. We are on the same page.
And we didn't even plan it. If you're going to do it, he knows how to function in a room that's got a lot going on. And you're talking about a guy that literally moves the chains no matter how bad things are around him, no matter how dumpster fire the Saints have been. A big play, 2 or 3 or 4 are coming out of Chris Olave.
I like that.
Yeah.
Hey, call us 617-790-0928. What is your wish list for the trade deadline? I feel like every time we sit here and we talk trade deadlines with these teams in town, and sometimes it's a big dud, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes we could get fireworks. I'm hoping that the Patriots get us there. Here's one that I don't think is realistic, but you know, this team, they're ran by morons, so it's possible. You're in division, so why would you ever do this? However, the Jets stink. Breece Hall, look, we sit here and we talk about the run game and we got to figure it out. And can Ramondre hang on to the ball? And can Travion get more touches?
A new number 1 and allow Travion to be your number 2 that develops and grows?
I mean, look, you bring a Breece Hall here and you have a bona fide running back and running
Jerome
game.
Ford? That's the
I
name
like
that's
him,
been
but
going around.
he's not as good as Breece Hall.
No.
He ain't as good as Breece Hall.
He's not good on absorbing contact, but he's good at breaking tackles.
You know what he kind of reminds me of? A little Travion-ish. It would be like having 2 Travions because I think Ford you can move him around and do some things with him. Breece Hall is a workhorse. Give him the ball, get the hell out of the way, and he's running everyone over. And he's fast enough to run away from you, too. He's a big play. Breece Hall's a stud.
I'd play with the bait.
It's just a matter of if the Jets are as dumb as I think, really. 617-790-0928. Call us. Let's talk Pats. Let's talk Celtics. Let's talk Bruins. Let's talk it all. Red Sox, get in here. The party continues. You see right there, 9 a.m. on Nessa Nation, 8 a.m. every day on Nessa and here. So we're done here, but join us there. We'll see you over there. Peace.